Greetings, loyalists and heretics. Welcome to Iron and Ceramite, where we once again enter the warp without an astropath.
Hello everyone, and welcome to this episode of the Iron and Ceramite Hobby Roundup. My name is John, and today I'm joined by Dave.
Hello.
Tommy.
Yeehaw.
Yeehaw. And Shane.
Hello.
No yeehaw from Shane.
No yeehaw.
Oh, that's a shame. How is everybody doing? You all good?
Yeah, good, mate. Yourself?
I'm always good, mate. Thank you. Well, we were expecting Glenn, but I think he might be asleep, so we may or may not see him some point through the episode. But hey, let's get straight into it, shall we? What has everybody been doing? Shane, let's start with you.
Yeah, so a continuation of my 250 points per month effort. This is one of the fine cast models that's now out of range. So it was announced, I think it was last month, maybe 2 months ago, that it wasn't going to be in production anymore. So I bought it before it was all finished up, and it's the old Space Wolf Rune Priest in Terminator model. It is a fine cast model. So I think they're just trying to finish those all up. But that's what he is. I haven't got a name for him yet. But I really enjoyed painting him, actually. For a fine cast model, he's fairly simple, so there wasn't much to trim off him. It was fairly easy going in that regard. And even the runes, the glowing runes on his armor weren't too bad, even though they look a bit fiddly. It was actually quite fun painting him. I really actually enjoyed this one.
Does he come as a set then, or is he a single standalone model?
No, it's a single standalone model. So he is a HQ because so effectively what he would be now is just a librarian in Terminator armor. So you'd run him out of the Space Marines Codex as such. In the original Space Wolves Codex back in the day, he's got a like a rune stave, but it would now be like a full sax as opposed to that. So you just run him as a librarian in Terminator armor. That's effectively what he is. He had a slightly different profile when it was Space Wolves as a standalone codex, but now it's just a supplement. As I said, he's just a standard Terminator.
Did you paint him assembled?
No. He was so I painted him because he was only 3 pieces, so just the 2 arms and the body. It was easy enough to paint him. In parts rather than fully put together. So it was easy enough to do.
Because the back is fairly all right, but the front, wonderful. Putting that together, then painting him.
Yeah, as I said, I think Space Wolves models always do tend to look a bit busy, with all of the little skulls and teeth and runic symbols and stuff like that. So it does look a bit busy, but it definitely was easier doing it disassembled. And I actually started with the arms first because they were the quickest bits to get done.
Yeah. And
then after that, as I said, it was fairly easy once I got onto the main body.
Yeah.
But yeah, quite happy with how he turned out.
Did you drill the barrels yourself, Shane, on this one?
I did indeed. I tend to drill all the barrels.
I've got to be honest, they are very, very straight. You've done a very good job of that because I know how difficult that bloody is.
Yeah, I'm happy with one of them. I think the one on the left, as you look at it, is a bit skewish, but it will do.
Bang in the middle though.
Yeah, it's not too bad. What I tend to do now when I'm doing it is I'll use my hobby knife first, just to get the center point and scrape a little bit out, and then I use that as the pilot for the actual pin drill, and then that helps get a more central hole.
Nice.
So, yeah, pretty cool.
I'm sure there's a joke about central holes that we're missing there.
Central hole, drill in the barrel, all that.
Yeah. Insert your own dirty joke.
Dave's domain.
Yeah.
Never tell dirty jokes.
Come on, Slaneshi.
Yeah, as I said, there's quite a good shot of the runes on his what's his left arm where he's got his rune axe. So I just did that with Troll Slayer Orange as the base, and then did a like a highlight of Avalon Sunset over the top, so it kind of gives it a two-tone effect. So you've got kind of a glowy orange gold effect to them, glowing orange more, which I think worked quite well. So I was quite pleased with the runes as they came out, and the transfer went on fairly easy as well. So he is done and dusted, complete model, which I'm quite happy about.
I was going to suggest that was a freehand wolf on his shoulder.
yeah, good one.
What year was he, Shane? Did you see on his little base bit?
Yeah, so his original casting, I think, was late 90s. I think it was like 98 sort of period that I think he was originally around. I was trying to work because there was a lead miniature that was very similar, but this is the one they did afterwards, which I think, to be honest, they probably did from the same mold, but they just used fine cast.
I was going to say, it looks like it should be a lead model in my mind. The whole time I was thinking that until you said fine cast.
Yeah. If I, like, as I said, if I showed you the model, like, or if you see it whenever I bring him out next time we're having a battle or whatever, you'd look at it and you would think it's like a lead one, because I've got a little lead Terminator that's in the Wolf Guard, and it looks exactly the same, but he's a little bit bigger, and obviously you pick him up thinking he's going to be lead, and he's not. He's fine cast, so you know, he just comes off the tabletop pretty quick. But yeah, he's got that dumpy lead look to him. But as I said, I like the older looking models anyway, so I was quite happy to have him in the ranks.
How many more of the older style models have you got then to do? Because obviously you've been on you've been bringing them out one by one. Have you got any more?
Yeah, I've still got, so I've got Lucas the Trickster, and then the Grey Hunter Banner Bearer. Oh, the old camera's gone. Yeah, I've got Lucas the Trickster and the Banner Bearer still to do, but again, to try and hit my my New Year's resolution of the 250 points per month, rather than do those guys, I went for batch painting a squad of 5 rubric Marines, which is, as I said, just what I'm finishing off at the moment. I was hoping to get them done for today, but I've still got to do all the gold trim, so they'll have to wait until next month now. But they will hopefully be part of May's cohort of 250 points, and then I've got to decide what I'm going to do next month, and that'll either be picking back up on Lucas the Trickster and the Grey Hunter, or getting into more of the Thousand Suns, because the original idea behind the resolution was to actually get the Thousand Suns painted, and then I just fucked it off and went and did all my old Space Wolves. So, you know, it is what it is.
Paint what interests you though, otherwise it becomes a lot harder, doesn't it?
It does, and I kind of like, I felt like I was ready to give the rubrics another go, and it's not been too bad. As I said, it's just now I've got up to the point of the gold trim. I'm like, oh god, right, here we go. I've done literally everything else I could have done on them. I've done their bases, I've done everything like the yellow trim, I've done everything I can do apart from the gold, and now that's all I've got left to do. So I've got to just sit down and get through it.
Shane, now you've got sort of quite a substantial, well, few armies now. As I say, maybe 3 armies. Obviously, Necrons, Space Wolves, and the Thousand Suns. Are you starting to develop, I don't know, like an affinity for one of them that you think? I know you like the Space Wolves at the beginning, but is there anyone else that's taken over, thinking maybe they'll be your main army, or is it still the Wolves? It's
still the Wolves. Like, they're like, to be fair, the Thousand Suns, the last couple of times I've run them, they performed really well. Like, I've really enjoyed running them, but the Wolves are very familiar. So, like,
or have you just played John?
Whereas I've got to remember what I'm doing with the Thousand Suns, and you know, I've got to keep looking stuff up with the Necrons and stuff like that. I just, you know, I know what I'm doing with Space Marines and Space Wolves as an extension, so it's easier to do. I think actually the last time I played Necrons, which was against you, Dave, when we first did the Tempest of War game, even though I lost that was probably the best battle I played with the Necrons. So they felt like they were like a bit more of a cohesive army, and something you could do a bit more with. I'm I'm half tempted to run them again, but I also half of me doesn't want to, because I think they're going to really suffer with the new Armor of Contempt rule as a Xenos that doesn't have anything like that, and it's just going to knock all of their AP off. And they struggled anyway from a firepower perspective. So yeah, I'm not sure about the Necrons at the moment. But yeah, definitely like, Space Wolves. I can just run them. I know what I'm doing with them. Like I've got fairly sort of settled lists in what I'm trying to do, and I can swap one unit out, play around with them and see what's happening. I think the Thousand Suns are good. The thing I think that I'm missing for them from an option point of view at the moment is anti-tank. So I think I've got that's the thing with the Space Wolves. I've got everything I need, so I can, run 2,000 points and tweak it to be assault, tweak it to be more anti-tank, throw in a bit of psyker activity. Like I've got plenty of options. The Thousand Suns, I've only really got one way to run them, and if I come up against something that's got a lot of tank, it's a bit of a struggle. And then the Necron, as I said, at the moment, they just seem, I think unless you invest in something like the old, what's it called, the Annihilation Barge, which I haven't yet decided to commit to, I think they struggle a little bit. Like they definitely need some of that, widespread, really damaging firepower. And that's really the only option they have. So as I said, I haven't, not giving up on the Necrons. I've got enough of them to continue to pursue it, but I think I'll play them the least until, other, data slates come out, or, a new book or whatever else. So I'll still play them, but it'll probably be an occasional thing. I think otherwise then it will be alternating between the Wolves and the Thousand Suns.
Yeah, that makes sense. Have you thought about getting Araman yet? Or
I've got Araman. Yeah, I've got Araman. I played him. Yeah, I've got Araman.
I haven't played him for a while then. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I've got Araman. As I said, all based. He's just not painted up yet. But I've got Araman. He does all right. He's okay. Like all the Thousand Suns, they're really good going forward. They're really good maneuverability. They're really good from a psychic point of view. They're not very good if you punch him. And that's the same with Araman. If he gets his attacks in first, he's pretty good. If he gets attacked first, he's like a lot of Marine characters, to be fair. He's only got 6 wounds, and so if he's hit by anything decent, he tends to die. I think it's whether or not at some point I'll probably invest in Magnus, which I'd like to have. I'd like to have, if you've got Chaos Army and then you've got a Primarch, you got to get him eventually. So I would like to get Magnus, but that will be an undertaking for maybe later on in the year.
Cool.
Intimidating getting a Primarch though, isn't it? You got to do it. If you're going to do it, you got to do it well.
Well, that's what some people will tell you.
Yeah, I guess.
You got to get it, and eventually you're going to have to paint it.
Or maybe I'll get Mortarion and just spray him Death Guard green and leave it then. It works
for good. Yeah. Death Guard green, bit of a wash.
Paint the easy bit. I'll do his eyes. That's the easy bit.
Yeah.
And then he's good.
That's it. That's, as I said, someone
Boss-eyed Morty.
Exactly. Like the scariest of Primarchs, because you don't know where he's looking.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Yeah. No. So as I said, eventually I'll go for Magnus, because it feels like it'd be good to be thematic.
He looks like a really cool model to paint as well. Like that, all that flesh, you can do whatever you want with that, can't you? That red, the glow, whatever.
Yeah, like if I was in any way like any kind of good painter, I'd say about highlights and all sorts of shit like that. I'll just paint him Screamer pink and be done with it. That'll be that. No, it'll be fine. No, it will be good. Right, as I said, it will. I'd take a bit more time over him, but yeah, I mean the Thousand Sun Demon Prince came out all right, so I think as long as I give him enough attention like that, he'll be all right. But he is, the other side of it is he's an incredible amount of points. So you're only ever going to run him on a 2,000 point army, and even in the 2,000 point army, he's taking up a lot of your points. So depending on what you're actually playing, he might be more ineffective than actual useful, because people will just stay away from him.
How many points is he? Is he similar to most Primarchs?
Yeah, exactly. Same as Mortari, and
I have 490 Morty, isn't he?
Yeah, it's around that fourth. It might be 450 for Magnus.
So many, isn't it? So many points.
but like they move quick. You dump them in the middle. People get distracted by them. They cause questions, right? They cause problems. But if you're playing, depending on what you're playing, that can be good or bad. Like if you're playing something like Tempest of War, which I know we'll come on to, but if you're playing something like that, he's no good because it's a quarter of your points tied up in one unit that is not objective secured. So you're just going to be having to use your other units to do all that work. But as I said, for a spectacle, still a nice model to have.
I want to throw out a conspiracy theory because obviously Space Wolves don't have psychers; they have rune priests.
Yeah.
But your runes on these power acts are strikingly similar color to a lot of the Thousand Suns green they have on their force staves or the power staves. Is that intentional? Because obviously this guy you said is obviously originally a rune priest in Terminator armor. So I was wondering, to know, is there some heresy coming out in your Space Wolves, or is that just a coincidence that
it's just because it's the color green that I've got?
Is this green?
It's,
I was just trying to.
It's moot green, and I like moot green. It's a nice color.
Yeah, fair enough.
But that's it.
That's what a heretic would say.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yes. Like you've caught me.
You're a Space Wolf. You're a heretic anyway. So.
I fucking knew it.
You've got me. That's it. Yeah.
We all know there's these caves on Fenris with Thousand Suns hiding away.
Yeah, under the sea and stuff like that as well, waiting to rise again.
Yeah, I knew it. Okay, right. Anything else, Shane? Before we move on.
No. I think we've dwelt long enough on the fact that I've only done one model.
It's one more model than I've done.
Okay, that's fair.
Only partially done 3 models.
I mean, in total, there's enough parts there for one model.
Yeah, almost. But yeah, I won't link. That's what I've been working on. May's not a good month for me because both the kids and my missus have their birthdays in May, so all my spare time is taken up on what they want to do. I know it's selfish. So that's where I'm at with these. At the minute, hopefully, my 2 days off, I will get them put together, and then I've got 12 more intercessors to do. So maybe I'll spray them all and work on them all with some of the more Necron-y stuff. I'm not too sure yet. And then I just took a second photo just because I wanted to have more than one, but that's it. So that's me done.
So I was going to ask you, so I know you're a way off from having your ultramarine force ready.
Yes.
Are you looking forward to running some Marines?
I am. I'm looking forward to doing something different. I'm looking forward to maybe not losing all the time. But then it's probably in the way that I play.
Plenty of wins.
I know, but not for a long time. I can't remember the last one I probably won was when I beat your winning streak.
Beat was it Crusade? Was it the Crusade we were playing?
Oh yeah, but that Crusade thing we had going sort of died a death, didn't it?
Yeah.
But we were all about it for about 6 weeks, and then it just went down in flames.
Distracted by too many other different ways to play because we'd started that, and then we got the open war deck, and now there's the Tempest of War deck. It's like very distracting.
Yeah.
I think with the Crusade, you've really got to, obviously we can't meet all the time because of work or whatever. If we had a proper league and we was all off on the same days all the time, you could run. But it's without that, you sort of lose the enthusiasm after a while, don't you? Because you forget who's what and who's got what, and it's not worth it in the end.
We all need to get a job together doing something Monday to Friday.
We'll all invest. We'll buy our own Warhammer shop, our own hobby store, all of us. Be shareholders.
That's the dream.
That will never happen.
No, we'll go out of business because there's so many of them.
Yeah.
they know what they're doing. And we're closed all the time because we're busy playing and painting our shit.
Yeah.
Go
Serving
away!
customers.
Get out. Opening all the boxes because we want to see what it's like.
The till's been dropped again. Oh, don't worry. Glenn's asleep out the back.
Well, no, we can't hire Glenn. He's already told us he doesn't upsell, so he wouldn't do us any fucking good.
Yeah, and plus, if anyone asked him, "Oh, how should I paint this?" he'd just hand over one can of spray.
Yeah,
Done.
that's all you need. Yeah, that's how he gets away with it. But yeah, I am looking forward to playing some Ultramarines. But I imagine that we'll be on 12th edition by the time I'm ready. So we'll see how it goes.
Fair enough.
Yeah, but otherwise, that's where I'm at. I am enjoying painting them. They need a little bit of a touch up on the Ultramarine symbols and that, and they just need finishing. So yeah, they're cool. So that's me. So the rest of the episode is dedicated to the 8 months worth of work that Tom's done in about 3 weeks. So Tom, I will hand over to yourself.
Dave ain't got nothing at all now.
Oh yeah, Dave, you
No.
didn't do anything.
I've done nothing. I have looked at my pile of shame and then turned away in anguish.
Wept gently in the corner of the room.
And that's as far as I got. I did get all my painting stuff out one day and then put it away a couple of days later. So
your painted stuff out.
I got all my painting stuff out, all my
right.
pots and
Yeah.
So I don't know. I haven't been very inspired at the moment. I've just been looking at my sea of stuff to do.
Have you thought any more about what you're going to do with them? The Necrons, the Tyrannids, though.
Yeah, I'm going to put them right at the back so I can't see them. That's the plan for those. No, they're. I probably will end up painting or trying to paint the fleshy bits white and then use a contrast paint. It's between that or the dry brush idea that you said, but I just can't decide which one I'm going to like more. So
grey or Stonewall Grey apparently work really well.
Yeah. So it's between that, but obviously I've got a lot of Necrons to do. I've got the Tau that I really need to do as well because I haven't even finished a single Tau model yet. So I'm going to look for inspiration over the next few weeks, but we'll see.
Good luck.
I went a long time because it's just been busy. I went a long time between painting out, and I've had obviously those 3 intercessors on the desk razor. And I think when you leave it so long, I find it really hard to go because I had a break. The only break I've had since we started was over Christmas, and then going into January, I found it really hard to like want to paint partly because it's like it's a lot of work, and also because it's like, well, is it going to be shit because I haven't painted in quite a while. But I think once you just sort of sit down and get on with it, you sort of, I don't know if it's the same for you, but you sort of find your motivation comes back a bit.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I think that's the issue is that I went for a stage of batch painting as well.
Yeah.
And that's never the most fun. So I think I might try and jump in with, I've got the Phobos Chaplain that I kit bashed. I think he's probably going to be my next model.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't matter too much if he's crap. And I don't want to fuck up Helbrecht or Grimaldus. So I'll probably do him next, and then
you got to warm yourself back up. Get the
sort
of not for lack of a better term, like your muscle memory back in. So when you get onto a model you care about, it's not like too dodgy.
I think that's the only Phobos unit that they haven't actually got as a HQ yet. The Chaplain, like legitimately.
Yeah, you got Lieutenant, got Captain.
Librarian.
Got the Librarian. They don't have a Phobos Tech Marine or Apothecary either.
How much have you got? Not counting Imperium, because we've all got piles of that stuff. How much Tau have you got in your pile of shame, and how much Black Templars have you still got? Because you keep buying stuff.
So yeah, I know. I've got 10 Necron Warriors to paint, 10 Necron Warriors to build, 5 Immortals to build, and then I've got 30 Tau Fire Warriors, a Ghost Kill, a Broadside, Crisis Suits, Commander, and about 30 Marines.
Now,
But yeah, that's why I just keep looking at it and just going, oh fuck, close that up again.
That's fair. Again, those Necron Immortals. Have you built any of them before?
Yeah, so I've built and painted 5 Immortals already, so they weren't too bad.
Where did you get? Did you go out and buy more?
No, me and Tom done a swap.
Oh, you swapped, yeah. I didn't enjoy building them either. I thought they were a pain in the ass.
They didn't fit together very well.
No,
but,
it's the cables that go around the back of the gun. I was like, oh,
yeah,
for sakes.
But,
As soon as me and Dave swapped them, as soon as he got down the stairs out of my place, or wherever it was that we actually swapped them, I was like chuckling like a madman. I was like, thank fuck I got rid of them. They were
You
horrible.
fool!
They were horrible. I've never been so frustrated with building anything. And it was most probably because at the beginning, I cut them all out thinking they was the same and tried to just jam them all together. I didn't even think of looking into the folder or anything. And I was like halfway through them and I thought, this is not going to work. So I just started crushing them into the floor. That was the first 10 that I had. So yeah, I was desperate to give them away. Luckily, Dave gave me an outlet. What did we swap for it, Dave? Obviously, Chaos Marines for, what was it? The 5 Immortals, Warriors, and the Codex, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Good deal for me, anyway. Well, for both of us.
Yeah, definitely. I'm happy with it.
Yeah, definitely.
First thing is, I wasn't going to use the. I've got, like I say, I've got 3 armies now. I'm not going to have a Chaos army. It doesn't appeal to me. So it would have just been another painting project to distract me from what I actually need to do. So I'm glad I got rid of it, to be fair. I think we're both quite happy with this one.
Yeah, definitely. Right, so
cool. Let's get into you, Tom.
Yeah, cool. So this is obviously a model that's probably appeared on here maybe a couple of months ago. The Emperor's Champion. Obviously, I did something different with him. I painted him gold and I put an Imperial Fists left shoulder pad on. He was going to be used as a company champion, stroke chapter champion for the Fists. Obviously, I was going to put a Storm Shield on his left arm, just on the outside. But I think I like the way he looks now. I'm probably not going to play the Fists for much longer, as we'll see shortly, or the specific Fists. There'll still be an Imperial Fist successor chapter, but this guy's probably going to have no place at all there in the theme. So he's just going to be like a model to display, really. But like I say, I went back to him. I put some weathering around his legs, did the base, a little bit dusty, a little bit plain, but at least he's finished now properly. And just did a few little effects on the lantern there, which come out okay. But yeah, not a lot of difference to what he was before.
It looks really good. I really like the highlighting on the tabard.
Good, mate. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's very cool. I did like the weathering as well. I think you've got that technique down. I think when you come onto the others, though, that's showcased a bit more as well. So I won't spoil it.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, I'm getting into that at the moment. These little weathering kits called, I think they're Tamaya weathering kits.
Yeah.
And they're so easy to use. Like, I mean, obviously, I'll go into it with the others after I've finished. But yeah, they're really good bits of kit.
Cool. All right, let's jump on.
So this guy, I think it was December 2020 when I originally painted him. He didn't come out too bad back then, of what I remember. But there's a competition going on Instagram called Mini Glow Up, where you've got to repaint a model, either the same model or strip down an old model and repaint it to make it look better. So I had 3 attempts in the end because I kept not being happy with what I was doing. So this was the first one. I should have sent a picture in probably of what he looked like before, but I'm quite happy with the way he come out. I mean, he looks okay. It's not an easy Shane knows, and anyone who paints the small lead models, like sometimes it looks like it's a bit blobby and not painted well, but you're like, well, the casting was shit.
Yeah.
But like the skull on the gun, for example, because this guy's been stripped down twice before anyway, so like a little bit of what detail was there on that skull had already been rubbed out maybe. It looks like he's got no eye sockets, but literally that's just the way it was. So all I could do was blob paint over it and that was it. Yeah, it's not my best work, but I was quite happy with him and he looks okay.
Was this one that you rescued originally, wasn't it?
Do you know what? I think I did, but I can't find the picture of what it was before and I can't remember. It must have been a long time ago. Yeah, I know I would have bought him, but I can't remember if he was originally painted and I stripped him down, or if he was just a bare metal buy from eBay.
Because you said that you should have put a picture on here from how he looked before. That's already on your Instagram, though, isn't it? Where he was before.
He was. I mean, I've changed a lot of my Instagram lately to make it come into line with the way I've been photographing things. I think he's still on there a while back.
Yeah.
But I've still got a picture of him from before anyway. So, yeah.
But I was just trying to seamlessly tie in the fact that you've changed your Instagram name as well.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, if anyone's interested in my Instagram page, then I've gone from @sanguine Reaper _ 85 to simply reaper.hobbies. Probably more because Sanguine Reapers were supposed to be my successor chapter, which never really took off, and I got a bit bored with because I pretty much played them as just Blood Angels. There's no point. But yeah, so I changed it to a normal, easy thing to remember. That was it. Really. Thanks, John.
That's all right. For the read up, there you go.
So I've got 5 intercessors from the Imperial Mag that I'm never going to use. They will never be in my army unless I'm playing Blood Angels. There's no point. They just won't cut it for Imperial Fists or successor chapters from the Imperial Fists. So I'm just making them into whatever I fancy, really. I've never painted a White Scars, so I thought I'd paint one, and I tried to make it look like he's like a, what arm would it be called? What's the wording they call it? A fake arm.
It's a cybernetic, bionic, yeah.
Bionic, that's it. Bionic arm, yeah. So I tried to make it look like it's been shot through the little plate thing that he wears next to his chest there, and it's gone through his elbow and pretty much ripped his arm to shreds. So sort of just slapping uselessly by his side as he's running, like a massive elephant's cock, basically.
That's the most natural comparison.
Yeah. What an analogy to go to.
But obviously, because the bionic hand, he's kept hold of his plasma gun, so it's just comically slapping by his side, sort of like a dead fish. And yeah, it was fun to paint, but it's nothing special. It's actually quite a poor paint job when you look close up at it, but there you go.
There is that poor.
I was going to say, no, I think it's quite nice, actually, quite thematic. I thought it was a nice idea. But I was going to ask, like, I know the Iron Fists, the Imperial Fists. They're obviously, and their successors are not known for assault, but you can still run assault intercessors, can't you? In that army.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's more of a case of, I say thematically, if you're going to play as the Imperial Fist with what they've got as their chapter tactics, it would never be worth it because exploding sixes and obviously ignoring light cover, which is what they use, it's all range. So okay, yeah, they're cheap points, and you could use them as just a quick, to get up. But there are better units you could use for that. For example, Blade, and they've got the Invan and all that type. I mean, these guys. I remember I first run them against John, and his Death Guard guy with the flail took out all 5 of them, and that was it. And I was like, I'm never running them again for anyone unless I have to. But so, like I say, they're cool models. I don't fancy them. I think there are better things out there for me.
No, fair enough.
So this was supposed to be originally a salamander. He went a bit dark in the end, so he looks a little bit like cross between a salamander and a dark angel. But it was just another one of them. I'm not going to use the aggressors because they've come with flame gauntlets. If they was with Boltstorm gauntlets or whatever they're called, I would have used them. But these were from the Imperial Mag, and that's what they gave us. So I've painted 3 of them in 3 different schemes just to sort of as a bit of practice, really. But I was happy with the way everything went with this guy. It went on smoothly. He looks okay. Just hasn't got much of an identity. I think it looks a little bit plain.
What have you used on the base?
So it looks like just like ground up Watsits, doesn't it? Just to be honest. I wonder if that'd work. No, but all it was is what was it I actually used? I think I put down some Armageddon dust, a thin layer of Armageddon dust, and then painted it red, and then just put loads of the. You got in one of the weathering kits, you've got this like fine. It's almost like foundation makeup that you grind up, and it's sort of like sand. And I just spread loads of that over it. It was supposed to look sort of like Mars, I suppose, or like a red planet type of thing. It would help if I had a couple of rocks to go on there. But yeah, that's what I used. It looks okay, but a little bit cloggy the way I put the weathering on there as well, as you can see around the feet. It's a bit, but yeah.
I like the effect on the gauntlets as well.
Yeah,
They look cool.
Yeah.
See, that's one thing I've learned, right? If you can get this black background down, I know this isn't perfect, and this is going to sound ridiculous, but the fabric you can see that he's standing on, that's my boxer shorts. It's the only thing I had that was and clothes.
It's balanced on your knob.
Yeah, were you wearing them at the time?
Yeah. Well, that's how wide it is. No, but no, yeah. So anyway, regarding the black background, it really does make glowing effects stand out. Like if you see this in person without the black background, then the little glowing effects on the gauntlets don't look like anything. Just look like blobs of blue paint that have been sort of put on the end. There's nothing about them. But once you put it up against the black background, it like just sort of draws your eyes, like in your peripheral vision. You think, oh, there's a glow. It looks good, but it doesn't. It's a trick.
Okay, I take it back with shit.
Yeah. So we need a black background, and you need to balance it on your knob, and that's good tricks for photography. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. There we go.
I have to start buying 25mm bases then.
Okay. So I could have. Did I send in the other picture, John, of the process? I can't remember if I did or not.
No. If it was, was it 4? Did you do like a collage?
I can't remember.
No, you didn't. No.
Right, cool. So basically, this is something I've been looking at basing because obviously I'm starting a new army and everything. I want to sort of quickly get through a load of bases and do them cheaply as well, because Astro Granite, as okay as it is, and Armageddon Dust and all that stuff, if you start putting them on the bigger bases, especially, it runs out so quick, and it's like £4.50 or £4 or whatever per tiny little tub. So I bought basically 5 kilograms of concrete powder, as you do, quick drying concrete like cement, and literally it works like a dream. It's quite difficult to get used to the way you spread it. You have to use a palette knife, but once you get used to it, as you can see, I'm not saying it's perfect or anything, but it looks pretty decent for considering that cost me £8 for 5 kilograms, and that's going to last me forever. You just take a bit of powder out, mix it with a tiny bit of water, spread it on there, it dries in 20 minutes, and it's done. Yeah.
I think it looks really good. I mean, it looks like something you could buy, like as a set base, honestly.
Yeah. And the good thing about it is, like I say, it dries quickly. That's the. I mean, the Astro Granite takes a good couple of hours to dry properly, maybe even more. But with this, 20 minutes. The only thing you've got to make sure you do, if anyone ever thinks of doing this again, is clean the top of the base or rub it up a little bit, like the top of the Games Workshop base. Because when I first did the first couple, they just, as soon as they dried, they just slid off, and that was it.
Oh, okay.
Perfectly clean underneath, exactly the base looked the same, and so I had to glue it back on. But yeah, that's just because I didn't clean it, because obviously the plastic always seems to have this weird residue on. Yeah, so
if you, I generally think if you like the rocks that are stuck on it, the stuff that's underneath, it looks printed. Like,
yeah,
it looks like it's come out of a machine.
And that's the effect.
Really good.
That's the effect of dry brushing. Like I watched a video. Like I'll have to get the guy's name. Or maybe I'll put it on YouTube just as like a shout out. Sorry, YouTube, Instagram, just as like a shout out to him. But it was all about like dry brushing and building up the highlights through dry brushing. So you paint it a darker red. Then once the dark red is finished, you put on Agrax. Then once Agrax is done, you put on a slightly lighter red with the dry brush. Then after that, you put on a cream color or a light brown color with the dry brush. And it's weird because you think it's not going to make much of a difference, but it really does. It makes it look real, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. I mean,
it's just a base, really.
Yeah. But for a base, I think it's really good work. Like, I don't know, I reckon you could probably sell them the way you make them, Tom, and people would buy them.
I could do if you put a few bits of that powder, a few drops of water, smear them on. You got about 10 minutes to work with it roughly before it starts to dry out too much. So if you could have like a bunch of bases ready, and just smear it on, and you got good at it. I know it'd be like a Chinese sweatshop, but like you could get them all done and definitely sell them.
Yeah. Well, you was looking for a new job, weren't you? So if we come and chain you to your chair, you could just keep making these for us.
You don't need to chain me to my chair. I'll make them.
No, we'll chain you to the chair for Dave's kink.
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
I'd like that.
So this, it's so this is one of the assault intercessors, believe it or not, and Orc arms. So he's got all bits, and the arms are Orc arms, and the body and legs are assault intercessor body and legs. And I've just shaved off with the hobby knife the Aquila on his chest and put a big, I don't know what it is, like a Chaos logo on his backpack, which was from the Demon Prince set that I had, just basically using up old bits to enter a fun competition online. Yeah, that was it for charity. It was a charity competition. Yeah, I had a lot of fun doing him. Oh, Dave, thank you. Before you say it.
Guilty conscience.
Yeah, that's it. No, but yeah, I like to kit bash things that are a little bit different, because actually when you end up painting them, for me anyway, it makes you more, I don't know, more enthusiastic to get back into the things that you really should be painting, because you've done something so weird or so different. Now you're thinking, right, now I can crack on with my army. I'm feeling good. You know, I'm going to go. So it helps me out. And that, by the way, that's the actual base that you saw in the last slide as well. But I smeared blood as well, and you can't really see it too well there. But yeah.
Yeah, the full effect. And then going on to the armies that you should be painting. So now we're going to get into your homebrew chapter.
So here was another one of the assault intercessors that I just put different arms on, a lieutenant arm and I think it's from the, I'm not sure what actual kit is from, but the power fist anyway, on his left arm. And this was just, like I say, a test of a scheme that was in my head. Because do you know what? And honestly, I'm going to give some credit, weirdly, to Dave's missus. Do you remember that marine she painted?
Yeah, I do.
That one back then. And I remember that we was all saying, that blue looks really good. And it stuck in my mind. And I thought, okay, yeah, if I add gold with that blue and black, and the glow will stand. And honestly, that's exactly where it started for me in my head. But I always thought, does it look a bit weak, the blue? Because it's quite wishy-washy, isn't it, automatic blue to put on? You have to put quite a bit on to actually make it stand out. And I thought I'd go for it and have a go. And I was really happy with it. And this is where it started. This model won't be used in any way, shape or form. It was just a test for what was to come.
Did you use to do like the recess shading, like in the power armor on his legs? Is that Agrax or is that Nuln Oil?
That is Nuln Oil.
Okay.
So, yeah, I find with Agrax, it's strange. With Nuln Oil, it seems like it's a little more oily.
Yeah.
When you put it into the recesses, if you go over the edges slightly, it seems to leave less of a mark than Agrax does. If you put Agrax on there, it immediately looks clear that you've gone over the edge, and it looks a bit gritty and dirty.
It's grimy, isn't it, Agrax?
Grimy, yeah, that's it. With the Nuln as well, I found you can, if you're quick enough with your brush, you can sort of just I don't know, move the bit that you've misplaced back into the line.
Yeah.
So yeah, I thought that was better to do. Normally I would use Agrax, so I like the shading of Agrax, but because this one I wanted to be a bit more clean, I went with the Nuln.
No, it looks good. It's like really sharp around the legs particularly. That's what drew my eye, because it's, as I said, with that colour, if you get that like darker recess shading right, it makes it pop more, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And I was really happy with that. I mean, you'll probably see when you go to what's actually happened that the way I've painted has changed. But yeah, I was genuinely really happy with that. So again, I actually did the exact same thing with this guy originally. This is my captain, and he has a name. He does have a name. So his name is Manu Crixus.
Have you been watching Spartacus?
Yeah. Has anyone watched Spartacus? Yeah, of course. Manu Bennett, the man who plays Crixus in that, also the guy that plays the Pale Orc in The Hobbit.
Hobbit, yeah.
It's that guy, simply because his face looks like him a little bit. So that was it, really. But yeah, this is to date, there's only one part I'm not happy with on there, and that's the like the purity seal type thing hanging off of his armor shield thing. I really don't like the way I've done that, so I might paint over that. Everything else, apart from the base it wasn't great. But everything else on the actual model, I was really happy with.
Is the on his tilting shield? Is that like a transfer?
Tilting shield. That's it. Sorry, go on.
Is that a transfer, or is that freehand, like little white text you've done?
Freehand, no transfer. It's a transfer. Yeah. Luckily, I mean, if you look at, like you say, if you look at the transfer and then you look underneath at the the bit of cloth thing hanging off, I mean, then you can see, that's my real talent.
It still looks good. I like that transfer on there. I think that's quite cool.
Yeah, it's an Ultramarines transfer, but obviously because it's script, that it's not going to, no one's ever going to read that.
No.
And there's quite a few of them on that as well. I think it come with the Indomitus box that I got half of a long time ago, and I've never had calls to use it. And I thought, well, each of my HQs or whichever one's got a tilting shield on, I can stick someone there and it might look okay. And it went on really well. And I used the technique as well of gloss varnishing the tilting shield first, and then putting that on, then over painting it in gloss, and then after that over painting it again in matte, just to bring it back down to normal. So it's a bit of a technique, but it was literally flawless. It's the best it's ever turned out for me, as in transfers. So it is a good technique, that one.
It looks really good. It pops.
Yeah.
The armor looks really good with that.
I've got to admit, this is the best armor I've ever painted, because this took me a good few hours. Normally I take maybe 2 hours, not including drying times with my efforts. But with this one, it probably took me about 4 hours, so about twice the time, because I went over all of the armor twice and I did it thinly so it was all even. So this is how it can be done, but it took so long to get it that smooth, the armor. And it didn't really matter in the end anyway, as you'll see, because my army sort of changed the way that they look anyway. So this is what I was originally going to go with, sort of a turquoise popping bluey green. But
is the sword just blue? Is that what you was going for? Just a blue sword? Or is
actually, I told a lie earlier. I said I wasn't too happy with the base and maybe that little purity seal type thing. But the sword is another thing that I'll be looking into, if I'm honest, because of the colour of the armour. I used to have my, as Shane called it, my sword blue or weapon blue, melee blue, whatever it was.
Yeah.
And that didn't really fit with the armour because it was quite similar in tones. So I tried to go a bit darker, and I don't like the look of it at all. It basically looks like a big blue fucking dildo or something. Like it doesn't look like a sword at all. But at the same time, I did consider painting it just lead belcher or silver, like an actual sword. But that didn't pop at all.
Like an elephant's cock.
Like an elephant's cock. Well, clearly. Yeah. That type of grey, just yeah, enough cock talk. He's got a big sword. And basically I don't know what will complement his armour on that weapon. I really don't. I was thinking red, and I was thinking no. Silver, no. Light blue, no, because his armour's that sort of colour. And then I was thinking like a magma sword.
Yeah.
But that is a lot of work, especially when you've got blade guard and that, and you're thinking, oh God, do I really want to be painting it that often? So that is a work in progress. I'm still thinking about what I can do with that.
Cool, fair enough. And we'll move on.
So this is probably the single unit, squad, whatever, that I'm most proud of in everything I've painted, just because it's the first one I've ever done that kind of look the same. Like, if you know what I mean. They all look like they should be in that unit together. The tones are all right of the armour. The weathering's all the same. And this is, from now on, as you'll see in the next slide, this is what the army will be. This is what the lunar race will actually look like pretty much throughout the army, as in the tone of the armour and that sort of setting of being a bit more grim and dark.
They look awesome. Like, really, really good.
And that's it, isn't it? It's more like it's not even that much of a great painting skill. It's simply just a look. And if you get the look right, I think, like the idea of the look, and a lot of it's to do with weathering, which is really, really easy to do. and I've pretty much done it all over them, everything. With the weathering kits, which is obviously just dust on, almost like a soft dry brush. Everything except the glowing parts, obviously, like the lenses and the face, and everything else is covered in it. And I know it sounds like a bit of a cheat, but it highlights everything. If you're okay to lose a little bit of the vibrancy of the actual paint and the armor, then you can get free highlights, but it will still make a look. You know what I mean? Like a battle look. Yeah, I was really
like really realistic compared to most Space Marines.
Yeah,
and that's what I thought of going.
Really cool.
Because, like you said, about the captain looks really good. Not really good, but he looks okay, and he's bright.
He looks really good. You can see.
Yeah, but he doesn't look real, does it? He doesn't look like he's been in any sort of battle ever. It looks like he's just marched out and just raised his sword up and gone.
Yeah.
Right, no. So yeah, I changed all that.
But these look like scats. They look like scats. They look like they've been out in the field. They look like they've been working for a while. They're covered in shit, basically, in dust.
That's just my painting.
But I think the scheme is there really well, and I think like you said, the effect, like the weathering effect, it does look real. It looks really good. And it makes me want to just throw everything I've painted in the bin. No,
honestly, I promise you, if you get a weathering set, learn how to use it on a one test model. Your models, even if you just put it on like the lower legs, it's so strange because I always thought that if you just put that tiny touch on a leg, on a shin sort of area, is that really going to make a difference? It does, because you don't really notice it until you don't notice it. It's almost like they look so good, but I can't really see why. I don't understand why. Because it just ties in better with the base and all that, I think, maybe.
Yeah.
Not with mine, because it's covered in it. But
what was the base colour of the actual power armour? Like, what colour is that? Or is it just all weathering?
So that armour originally would have looked exactly like that first picture of the captain.
Really? That's the base colour? Amazing. Yeah, that is amazing.
But it wasn't just the weathering. What I've started to do after this one with them was everything is covered, literally everything apart from the faces, like I say, and the glowing parts is covered in Nuln Oil.
Gotcha.
So it's that colour, then Nuln Oil, then the weathering across everything pretty much.
No, it really works. It's really cool.
And obviously, so the one part of these I'm not happy with fully is the bases, because the bases or the models, sorry, were already stuck to the bases for these ones, so I couldn't remove them. It was too tricky. They were too well stuck. So I had to sort of just paint them red and try and make it look a little bit like sand, not how I want them to be. But I had no choice really with these ones. But
is that because you built them first?
Sorry, mate.
Is that because you built them first?
Yeah, these were originally going to be Imperial Fists. They were sprayed yellow before this, and I just straight over them with the white, so I could do the contrast. But luckily, I used my airbrush on them before, so the yellow wasn't too thick. But yeah, sort of, as you can see there, with that effect on the cloak, it's not the same as the other one who was on the other side. The other one on the other side had texture on the bottom, and I couldn't recreate this one because I didn't have enough of the dust that I used, that I mixed with the red. I used some of the weathering dust that I mixed with Blood Angel's red on the first one to make it look, this one here, to make it look textured, like it's sort of changing from the floor. But the other one I didn't have enough, so it looks a little bit slicker. But yeah, you can't tell.
I wouldn't have noticed that unless you point it out. Again, it's that your own worst critic. They both look really good.
Yeah, I did know. I was going to ask you. You answered now. I was going to ask if that was because you wasn't sure which one you preferred. Well, which one do you prefer? The more textured one or the smooth one?
The smoother one probably looks better, but in my mind, I prefer the textured one because I think that's how it would be. You'd want to blend in more.
Yeah, that's it. That's exactly it. Because the smooth one makes sense because it's a cape, but the textured one works because it's camouflage, active, futuristic camouflage.
Yeah, there's a possibility.
Yeah. That's
Where
good.
did you get the idea from for the line on the Eliminators as well, like the active camo?
So I just googled camo cloak of eliminator camel cloak camel cloak.
Camels. Camel cloak.
No, the camel cloaking. No. Eliminator camo cloak effects. That was it. And I just went through some of the images. There was none like this. I mean, the line, yeah, pretty much exactly the same, but none with the red underneath because that's the colour of the bases. So pretty much I just looked for the line that I wanted and just added the red bits below. That was it. But there are quite a few like amazing. Looking at it, I was like, I might as well give up. But yeah, I'm quite happy with how it turned out. I mean, with the naked eye from a distance, it looks really good. Close up, like every fucking model with effects, it doesn't look as good. But yeah, it was good practice.
What you were supposed to say is from you.
Yeah. I thought you were going with that, Dave. I was going to be like, oh, it looks a bit like the one I did years ago.
But cool. Yeah. But fuck
Very
you.
forgettable.
I know you did them, but I can't remember. So many people do them. There we go.
Dave, I was about to say, I think he's copied you, mate.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Definitely, and I think he did it better.
I've never seen them in person. You've never used them against me, have you? You eliminators?
No, I don't think I have, to be fair. I'll bring them next time. Just say, look.
Look what you did.
So this is my next completed squad. Inceptors, they are. They was going to be Imperial Fists, but I decided. I mean, I just thought, look, I know that obviously the snipers, maybe you'd think, oh, maybe they should be a bit darker than everything else, but I thought, no, if they're all fighting in the same sort of a desert world or moon world with all the dust everywhere, literally everything is going to be covered in it. There's going to be winds, there's going to be fighting, nothing's going to be clean. So I just thought I'm going to put it across everything, make sure the lower parts of their bodies are a little bit more weathered than the upper parts, because obviously it just makes sense. And I think when they're all together as an army, it would just look better. And the only thing I've started doing as well, actually just reminded me, is all of the gold is highlighted. So I'll paint it all with Nuln Oil, and then the gold will always be highlighted over the top. So there's something about them that actually shines out. Otherwise, they look so dull, you can sort of lose them in the picture.
What are you highlighting with?
Just exactly the same as what I actually paint them with in the start, which is Retributor Gold.
Yeah,
but then after the wash, then just the top bits gently, almost like dry brushing, but not quite. You know what I mean?
Imagine being the poor bastard that's to clean the sand out of their gear. Fuck
Yeah,
that.
that's it. I mean, because it would be horrific, wouldn't it? Really. I mean, and that's another thing. I wonder how, when you're flying around on a world like that, or how do your power packs work? Because they've got them intake parts, haven't they? On the back, like, it must be clogging up all the time. You never hear
just dropping out of the sky.
Whole fucking hive worlds that are manufacturing filters for Space Marine suits.
Yeah. Mate, I like it. I like those models. They're cool.
Yeah, the one thing I will change about them, well, I suppose two things. The bases will have some form of bits of debris or grass or whatever, dead grass or something on them to make them stand out, and I will probably replace the little stands that they're on, because I already glued them together and I couldn't avoid painting or priming them white, so they're not see-through, obviously, so they stand out. That looks ridiculous. But yeah, I'll probably replace them with them. There's some parts you can buy off of eBay, like custom parts that look like flames and smoke, so I'll probably replace them with them at some point.
The things on their boots, I think, I imagine model-wise, they're there because obviously when they land, it takes the impact. But they look like they should be on a roller coaster. Their boots. They're just really strange additions to their armor.
When I was painting them, all I could keep thinking was Forrest Gump. Didn't think so.
Yeah. He's got his leg brace. As they're flying around, they're just falling off.
Yeah, but I like these. I like these guys. They're cool models, but they're not the sort of models I would use that often, I don't think.
No. I suppose they serve a single purpose, really, don't they?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's pretty much all I've got. So for the lunar wraiths, that's the one we can get for that.
I think you've found a fucking brilliant looking scheme. Really good.
Good, man. Yeah, I think looking at it like that, I had to put them all together just to overview to see if they look cohesive.
Yeah.
And I'm very happy with the way that they turned out. If I'm honest, the only thing I'm not happy about on all of these, because these were all models that were already stuck to bases, is that I couldn't make my own bases for them. That's the only thing that I sort of regret a little bit. But I'll find a way to get them off of the bases and put some more new ones on in the future, hopefully.
But we have to put all credit to Dave and his missus for the cloaks and the colours.
You're welcome.
Honestly, that was a really good idea to go with that as a prime colour. Was it your idea, Dave, or was it hers? I bet it was hers.
It was definitely hers, yeah. I can't claim that. She's very good with that sort of thing. So I'll make sure to let her know.
Yeah. Well, next week next episode she'll be on here and you won't be.
Yeah. An improvement.
Yeah.
If we could paint pink. Dave's just pissed in the background.
I started this.
Yeah.
Fucking big. I threw this in last minute because it's what I've done today. So I've basically built, I call it a light box, but it hasn't obviously got its own light. So it's just a box for taking a picture of something in.
Didn't you buy a light box? Didn't you just spend a load of money on buying a light box?
The difference is the light box was shit. It was literally terrible. I say terrible. It was better than having nothing at all. But it was like £10. It was from China. It come across. Everything on it was shiny. The light wasn't the right tone. You couldn't adjust it. Everything like that. But with this, I saw something on Instagram about, especially not like when you have a light box, you have to put the model in the light box sort of thing because the light's in the light box, right?
Yeah.
So, but what you should really be doing is having the box like that a little bit further back and the model in front of it, so that the box is sort of in darkness, if you know what I mean. The box itself is in darkness and the light is before the box. This is really confusing, isn't it? But,
no, it makes sense.
You've literally got a picture of it there. It's not that confusing.
Myself, don't worry, it's fine. So the light is shining on the model, but the box, because it's got its protection around the outside and on the top, I'll put a little bit of an extra peak on the top, is still in complete darkness. So when you take the picture from a distance, and obviously with the editing, you don't edit afterwards, but if you edit during the photo, you can take down the light exposure. Then you literally you can barely see the back at all, and that's how you get obviously the end result. I know the model's not great there, but the actual black background is almost perfect. Apart from you can see the floor part slightly.
You see a very, very, very faint difference, but otherwise, it works.
And I kind of like that as well. I mean, if I kept taking the light exposure down, I could have that completely in black, the background, but it wouldn't look normal, like it's floating in the air. So you want to see the floor very slightly, I think, and then transitioning into so you can see the body in full blackness, if you know what I mean. So yeah, that was it. It cost me in total, including nails and electrical tape, around about £8. So it's not bad.
Well, you could have bought a whole fucking tub of concrete for that, mate.
I'm going to bury you in concrete.
Tom's spare room is just a padded cell where he bounces around. One mad idea from the other. It just seems to work.
Mate, I'm not even lying. If you ever went into that room, when we play a game here or something, I tied it all up, make sure everything, even though it still looks like a pigsty, right? It looks functionable. When no one's here, it's just like mad. This bits out of the, because you've seen how much stuff I've got underneath that table, right? It's all crammed in there. It's everywhere, seriously. But mad genius. Without the genius, just mad. But yeah.
Oh man, you've had a really busy couple of weeks. Really busy.
I think it's all to do with simply the fact that I suppose, had the idea that I'm doing. I know it's not unique. Everyone, a lot of people do them, their own chapters and stuff, but or their own successor chapters, own brew chapters for whatever race or faction. But I feel like I'm literally building something for myself, Like rather than normally when I'm painting Blood Angels, I'm thinking everyone's done this. There's nothing unique about it. You know, and I think that's for me. That's what makes it worth it. I don't know why, and it makes me keep wanting to do them because as soon as I finish them, I'm like, I can name them now. I can name them. Like, it's pathetic, but you know.
All right, that's good. I look forward to facing the Lunar Wraiths one day. So how many points are you up to now?
So I've just painted 90% painted one of the Blade Guard. I've got the other two based and their tabards painted. So what have I got? Probably about 350 points fully painted. It doesn't sound much. It looks like more than it is, but you know the Eliminator is only 75 points. So yeah, about 350, but nearly 400 with the single Blade Guard, and then obviously the other two that are not too far away. So after that, I'll be approaching 500, but not quite.
So the Imperial Fist you've got, are they getting a makeover, or are they just going to stay and you're going to start fresh?
Every single thing that I've got for the Imperial Fist is going to become Lunar Wraiths, except the characters that I can't use for the Lunar Wraiths. Everything. Because technically, as an Imperial Fist successor, I can run them as the Imperial Fists. I could even use the characters.
Yeah.
I say they are Imperial Fists. But obviously the characters are painted, and because they're decent models, I don't really want to strip them and overpaint them. So I'll keep them as a memento of my Imperial Fist days in the armies that I never actually got painted. But yeah, I think going forward, I'd prefer to have everything my own rather than named characters, because a lot of the people that actually play online or sort of on YouTube and that do say that, you know, it's cool, it's thematic to have characters, but they're not really better than normal regular captains, because with the regular captains, you can put twice as many traits on them, for example, and you can pick the traits, which you can't with the characters. So I'm more than happy to go with that and actually just name them myself like some ultra nerd.
Such a free spirit, Tom.
Yeah, I echo those thoughts.
Yeah.
Echo.
Cool. Oh, right. Well, so very, very quickly then, the only other things I've put on the end of this is the interrogator, just because we finished Act 1. I just wanted to bring it up. I don't know if you've watched any of it, Tom?
None of it, not one piece. I will watch them. Yeah. How long are the episodes, sorry?
10 minutes, 12 minutes at the most.
I'll probably watch them after this then, quickly.
Yeah. Have you watched the third one, Shane?
Yeah, I've watched it all now. Yeah, I'm caught up.
So, quick plug. Obviously, the individual episodes we've already reviewed, and they're on our YouTube channel. So go check them out to see what we think of those. But obviously, Tom, you've not seen it. Shane, you weren't on the episodes. Just wanted to get your thoughts really on the first act and how you found it.
It's all right. Like I said, I'm not overwhelmed by it. I'll be interested to see where it goes. I think it's. I think we talked about this on one of the Librarius episodes as well. I think it's really. If anyone played the original Max Payne game, it's super like that. Like the opening credits are exactly Max Payne, and it's really, you know, they are really leaning hard into that. What's it called? What's that? Noir, that's it. Yeah, really leaning into the noir focus and the a bit like the Sin City comic books as well.
Yeah.
So rather than the film, more like the comic books. It's okay. Like as I said, it is very. It's much the muchness for the grim dark future. It's what you'd expect. Like, you know, there's the people getting killed. It's an imperial hive world, all that sort of jazz. But there's nothing at the moment that's made me go, okay, this is amazing. It's an okay story. It's nice to have a bit of animation, like as always. It's good to have a bit on there, but it's all right. What I would say, this is a totally different tangent. If you've got Netflix, the new series of
Love, Death and Robots.
Love, Death and Robots is out.
Oh, I just finished that. So good.
And I would say that, again, for me, that is more Warhammer, what I'd want from
Yeah.
40k animation.
Yeah.
If you go back and watch any of the 3 series of Love, Death and Robots, premium sci-fi animation,
Yeah.
really good. Actually, and then loads of it could be Warhammer. You know, it's very 40k inspired. A lot of the stories, and that would be my recommendation over the 40k animation at the moment.
Have either of you seen Love, Death and Robots?
No.
Oh,
Never
mate.
heard of it.
Oh, you know
Honestly,
me. You know me and my going out the way to watch fucking animated stuff.
Animation, yeah.
honestly,
But some of that you'd like, Dave, because it is top drawer.
Well, funnily enough,
he really liked this. Yeah.
I actually really liked Interrogator. So,
okay.
yeah, I might have to go and check that out. What's it called? Love, Death and
Love,
Robots.
Death and
Love, Death
Robots.
and Robots.
I'll send you a couple of episode recommendations. I think you'll, because some of them, it's like Hammer and Bolt in a way, where some of them you'll like and some of them you won't.
Not the animation style. Don't worry about that, Dave. Like, it's a mixed bag.
Yeah.
Loads of different stories.
Yeah. But I think season 3 was strong, but there's good episodes. Season 1's really good. Up and down in season 2, but season 3 was really, really good. But because me and Glenn have obviously done the first 2 episodes.
It was away.
He turned up for those. And then because me and Glenn pretty much for the first 2 episodes, we pretty much have the same train of thought, probably more positive. Shane, I thought you'd like it maybe a bit more. And then I was like, we better get Dave on because I don't think he'll like it too much. It'd be good to have a opposing opinion. He come on, and he loved it as well. I was like, oh, well, that didn't work. So we won't spend too much time on that. I think it's good. But for more of our review, go to look at the individual episodes. And then the last thing for this is just a bit of a chat about Tempest of War. Have we all played Tempest of War yet?
I don't think you have yet, Tom, have you?
Don't think so, no. The last one I played was from a pack of cards that you had, wasn't it? What was that before?
That was Open War. So yeah, we haven't. We'll have to sort that out because I think you'd like it. Like it's a bit.
It's really good.
It's a bit further on from Open War. In that it's just your secondaries change every turn.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
So
I've really, really, really enjoyed that game. I know, even though I lost, this is how I'd like to play all the time.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Yeah,
I'd agree. This for me makes every single game much more enjoyable.
Yeah,
because there's not been a game that I've played this where it's just been a complete decimation. It's been really close until the end, and it just makes it much more engaging, much more. Just much more exciting. I think that a lot of the time is even if you're losing or technically losing, it can swing the other way so quickly. It just makes it really, really good. I've really enjoyed these.
Yeah, and
you can't go in with one strategy either. You can't go in like you said, Shane, when we were planning. You have to have a balanced army. You can't go in thinking I'm going to shoot them off the table because if you don't draw those secondaries, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
And then you might get lucky where you have let's just shoot something off, but then the next one's going to be now you need to defend or hide or sit on a objective.
Yeah, or you get like blood and guts, and you got to go and beat something up.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So it's like a real army then. I mean, obviously, armies don't just sit through the whole battle doing the same thing, right? They adapt and they evolve what they're thinking, so it makes sense.
Yeah.
So it's quite good because you, like the other games, you get your standard, like you both get your main objective. So your primary is what it is for both sides. That's fine. But then every turn you draw 3 secondaries, and you can score them in that. You can score them in those turns, or if you think there's one you don't like, you can use a command point to generate a new one at the start of your turn.
Yeah.
And at the end of your turn, you can discard all 3 if you don't think you're going to score them. So you got to kind of make your mind up. Like, do you go for it that turn? Do you hold on for it for a turn? What are your opponent's secondaries and what they do? Because you've both got the same deck effectively, but they're shuffled, so they're randomized as to when you get which objectives. So it really does. It creates a really swingy game, but a game that keeps you in it all the way through, like until typically until the very last turn, and then you'll be like, oh, okay, now it's it might be clear, but you've gone through 4 turns and it's really close all the way, rather than in a standard game where sometimes you get to the end of turn 2 and you're like, well, that's me fucked.
Yeah.
So if you get to the round at the end of one of the rounds, to get a new objective is sort of a luck thing then, rather than you can select a new objective for the next battle round.
It's all random.
Right.
Drawn.
Okay, sorry, I was miles off. I thought that you could then keep selecting each for every. No, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Once you complete an objective, so you might have an objective that you score really easily, but once you've done it, it's gone.
Right, okay. Yeah.
So, like where you play a standard game, you might be like, right, I've got a shooting army, so I'm going to select, the 3 secondaries that I'm going to try and score throughout the entire game, and they're all going to be based on shooting, right? You pick your secondary objectives to try and suit your army. With this, you don't know what your secondaries are going to be until you draw them on the turn. So it encourages you to build like a really balanced list, because you don't know what you're going to have to do.
Yeah, no, that's a good one, man. Good idea.
Yeah, very enjoyable.
Yeah, really good. A really, really good, fresh way to play. Although it's come very quick, because I don't think Open War was out very long.
No, Open War was around a bit longer, but I think it took us a bit longer to get hold of it, to actually go, all right, let's try this as a method of playing. And Open War has remained the same throughout editions, so it's always a method of playing it. Yeah. This Tempest of War, which used to be Maelstrom of War, it's been a while since you could play it in 8th edition, so a couple of years now before this actually came out.
So I need to organise another game so I can play it, because it was good, and it was good. It was close. I think it was quite fairly close between us until the last round as well.
Yeah, it was the last
how all games went.
Well, when me and Dave played, when it was the Necrons, that was fairly close right until the end, and it was still, what was it, 92-82 or something like that.
Yeah, I think it come down to 1 secondary in the end.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was really, really close. And I thought I was going to start smashing you as well, because on a usual day, I had some relatively good rolls, and you sort of got a bit out of position on one of your flanks, and then the rest of your army just sort of started scoring secondaries. And I was like, shit.
Yeah. Yeah,
and it swung back and forth. I thought I was going to win, and then you had a really good turn. I thought, oh fuck me, he's going to win, and then it swung back. It was really, really good.
Yeah, and I think you're right. On a usual day, that would have been the Necrons done for. If it had just been if we'd been playing a standard game, and then it would have been midway through turn 3, I'm like, right, we'll just play out the rest of this game now. But because of the nature of it, as I said, it was every chance I could have won it at the end if I'd done something different with my Shard, who was rampaging in the backfield by the end of the game. But yeah, it was a good game.
Definitely a recommend. If you've got a group that you play with regularly, definitely a recommend, I think, to mix it up a bit. But has anybody got anything else that they want to bring up for the hobby roundup? Cool. Dave, I'm gonna let you do this bit for a change.
As always, thank you for watching. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and all other social media bits and bobs. Obviously on YouTube, thanks for watching. Give us a like and subscribe if you enjoyed. Don't forget to press the little bell button. We are on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and all other good podcast services. To search for Iron and Ceramite. John occasionally goes on Twitch, more than often doesn't.
I bet it's 4 times.
We do have a Patreon. We don't have much on there at the moment. We are hoping at some point to get a bit more on there. But you've been hearing that for a while, so maybe don't believe us, maybe do.
Tom, did you buy those stickers?
Yeah.
You did? Have they arrived yet?
No, they're going to take a while to arrive, maybe a couple of weeks. So yeah.
It's because he hasn't fucking ordered them. Anyway,
we might send you a sticker if you sign up.
Yeah. Use our Element Games link to get the obvious discount that you get from Element Games. We get a bit of kickback, which will solely be going into the channel. Recently had a giveaway that we done, funded by our affiliation link. So definitely use that, and hopefully we can do some more giveaways in the future. And go on combat cards to see whether Sleepy Glenn or Super Shane are still leading the board.
Of course they will be.
So, who's leading at this moment in time?
It's me at the moment. Sleepy Glenn is in third. So he's, there's been another player that's joined that is now pushing myself and Glenn quite consistently at the top of the tree. So
You're not going to name him.
I think it's Covey. I think his name is Covey.
Ah.
But last month it was Glenn. He led the way. But yeah, this month I'm at the top at the moment.
That's why he's not here tonight. He is on
Furious.
combat cards.
He's
That's where
furious
playing.
He's just beavering away combat cards in a dark room with a big bottle of Pepsi and his vape.
He knows that Shane's out for a couple of hours. This is
Yeah.
the time to
This is it.
Yeah. Well, on that bombshell, I'm going to start stealing
Jeremy Clark.
Clarkson's line there, and I. Well, that's Exterminatus for this week. See you later.
As always, we would like to thank you for listening to our Iron and Ceramite podcast. If you liked us, then you can also find us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and any other good podcast services. Just remember, in the grim darkness of the far future, there is only war.
Can you see everything, Tom?
Yeah, well, until I've done these beers, and then it might go a bit. But we'll see how we go. Guys, give me 2 minutes. I've just got to go and get my charger.
Okay. Well prepared. At least he's
More
awake.
prepared than Glenn.
Yeah, at least he's
Yeah,
awake.
yeah. He attended and stayed awake.
Yeah. Well, if he's getting a charger, I might as well get another drink.
He's going to be on the floor by the end of this.
Who, John?
Yeah.
How many has he already had then?
2 8% ones
Oh, really? Jesus Christ!
and a normal one, I think,
Oh,
and then that one. So I think he's about
And
the
I
equivalent of
had
about 6 beers in.
I had a Koppenberg gin and lemonade. That was quite nice, actually.
You can't even say it.
living it large on a Tuesday night, John. You off?
Well,
You got tomorrow off?
Well, yeah, I have. This has been a very long week for me. It's been a very busy week, and I got 2 days off. I
Worked the whole of Monday.
Yeah, I have got to do the school run in the morning, but that's a wake up at quarter past 8, drag them up the hill,
Yeah,
and then roll back down and sleep on the settee for a few hours.
that's a problem for tomorrow, me.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a problem for everyone else.
Fucking typical that the plug would be right behind where I've got my fucking setup.
Mm.
Hold on.
Who would have thought that?
Exactly. Who would have thought that, John? You're right. Hold on. Oh, fucking hell. God.
I'm not even going to edit. I'm just going to leave this silence in.
Fuck off, you freak.
I'll tell you, we're live streaming.
I need to see myself. Hold on, so I can. I can't get that teddy bear of Mr. Strong in. That's ridiculous. So that's...
Bring him over. Put him on your lap.
Right, cool. I'm ready.
Just
I'm back.
pretend it's him speaking for the rest of the podcast.
Oh. Right, I need a piss desperately.
Right.
Fucking hell.
See you in a sec.
Just get another drink.
Yeah,
Me too.
I'm gonna pause that and I'll get a drink.